Did you know that nearly 50% of PhD applications are rejected for reasons other than academic qualifications? There's a lot more to getting admitted into a PhD program than outstanding grades and test scores. Today, we'll dive into reasons why you might get rejected by PhD programs. So if you are thinking of applying this year or you are actually reapplying, it's really important to understand these pitfalls to increase your chances of applying successfully. So let's not waste any more time and get into it. So you applied to a PhD program, you had a great GRE score, you have great GPA, you got great letters of recommendation, you wrote a great statement of purpose, and you still got rejected. So what the hell happened? Today, I will share the 5 more common mistakes that PhD applicants make that get them rejected. So let's get into the first reason. I've worked with many people who applied to PhD programs and who did not get in the first time. And based on my experience, a lot of it has to do with school selection. Instead of buying into a brand, you should really focus on picking programs that are going to be a best fit for you. And by fit, I mean picking programs that conduct research that is in alignment with the type of research that you'd like to do. You should definitely pick a program that has strength in your subfield and where there's at least 1 or 2 faculty who work on your topic. Another reason why people do not get admitted the first time is that they do not cast a wide net when they pick schools. So a lot of people have a tendency to only focus on highly competitive schools that have a really high selectivity index and do not give themselves chances of getting admitted because all the schools are pretty much in the category of these highly competitive schools. So it's really important to pick schools based on their selectivity index to make sure that you go through the process without wasting your time. Another reason that is fairly common is that people don't necessarily conduct a lot of research on the class profiles. If your GPA and your test scores are a bit lower than the average listed on the website, that might be an indication that your chances of getting in are a little slimmer than what you might like. So you really want to look at other programs as well to make sure that you go through the process without putting all your eggs in the same basket. Another fairly common reason why people get rejected by PhD programs is that they submit a poorly written CV or resume. So I've mentioned that your main goal as a PhD applicant is to fit in. It's also important, paradoxically, to stand out from other applicants. And so the main area where you should demonstrate how you differ from others, especially in a competitive program, is your CV or resume. So instead of describing what you have done in the past, you should think of your CV or resume as a list of achievements that clearly demonstrate to admissions committees what you have achieved and how great you are compared to other applicants with a similar profile. So it's really important to use your resume and your CV as the backbone of your application. A lot of people, and I'll talk about it a bit later, use their statement of purpose to brag about their achievements. This is not the space for you to do this. You should actually do this in your CV and your resume. So you should have a clear list of what you have achieved in detail, and you should outline how you stand out from others as an applicant. This is, in my opinion, the best way for you to stand out and to actually show clearly to admissions committees who you are in just 1 page or 2 pages. So it's really important to focus on your CV or resume if you are applying this year. This is really one of the most important elements of your application. By the way, if you are in the process of working on your CV right now and you don't know how to go about it, I invite you to download my free guide that I have listed in the description box of this video. You can download it for free. It provides you with all the information and all the tools you need to come up with the perfect CV for PhD applications. And I also provide you with a template that you can use to work on your own CV. So don't hesitate to download it. I also have a ton of other free resources. Make sure to check out the description box and to download these tools that can help you be more successful as you apply to PhD programs. The third most common reasons why people get rejected by PhD programs is a poorly written statement of purpose. So the statement of purpose, in many cases, this is the first thing that admissions committees will be looking at. So you need to really have a top-notch statement of purpose to impress admissions committees and to guide them in looking at other pieces of your application. So you might have great letters of recommendation, a great CV, etc., etc. But if your statement of purpose is poorly written, it doesn't really check all the boxes that need to be checked in the minds of admissions committees, they might not even get to look at these letters of recommendation and at the other pieces of your application. So it's really important to allow many hours to the writing of the statement of purpose to make sure that this is the best piece of your application and that you convince admissions committees to look at the rest of your application. It's definitely not something that you should write in 2 or 3 hours. You should allow plenty of time for you to write a statement of purpose that is going to be well written, concise, clear, and that will demonstrate to admissions committees why they should pick you. One of the most common mistakes that I see in the writing of the statement of purpose is that people actually repeat what can be found in their CV or their resume. So you want to avoid this and really focus it all on your research. So it should basically do 3 things. You should describe your research experience in detail, then outline your research projects or your interests in terms of topics and subfield as clearly as possible, and then you should connect your intention to conduct research with each program. So it's really important to make that connection as specific as possible. So you want to talk about curriculum. You obviously want to list professors that you'd like to work with, but you also want to talk about research centers. You want to demonstrate to them that you have gone beyond the website to find more about the program, etc., etc. So the statement of purpose, in my opinion, is probably the most common reason why people do not get in. I see people who talk about their personal experience, they talk about their parents, they kind of go in all kinds of directions there. And it's really important to not do that and to present a piece of writing that's going to make a really convincing case for admissions committees to take you into their program. Speaking of going beyond the website, it's really important also to make sure as you apply to a PhD program, especially if you're applying to a PhD program that is hyper competitive, to contact the program before you even send your application. So a lot of reason why people get rejected is because they haven't necessarily demonstrated concretely that they are very interested in the program. So how do you do that? Well, you can do that by contacting current students. It's a great way for you to find out if the school is a good fit for you, but the conversations that you will have with the students can be used in your application. So you can refer to these conversations, for example, in your statement of purpose. If there is an interview, there's a way for you to mention that you've talked to several students and that they've confirmed your interest in the program. This is a great way for you to stand out. You can do the same with alumni. So connecting with alumni is a great way to find out if the program's a great fit, but it's also a great way to demonstrate to admissions committees that you've gone beyond the website and that you're extra serious about the program. In addition to this type of networking, it's also very important to attend info sessions. So if there's online info sessions about the PhD program, using the email that you will use in your application is a great way, again, for you to show that you wanted to find out more about the intricacies of the program. If you are competing with people who have the same profile, well, that makes you stand out from other applicants. So I highly suggest attending these info sessions and using this type of networking to make sure that you are a competitive applicant in this program. Finally, the 5th reason why people get rejected by PhD programs, and that's probably the most difficult reason to handle, is for reasons that are beyond their control. If you're applying to PhD programs in the US, you probably know that interacting with professors is not necessarily required before you apply. So in many cases, you really get to interact only once you are admitted into your program. So there's a lot of factors that are at play in admissions decisions that you cannot control and that you cannot necessarily be aware of as you go through the application process. So for example, one of the faculty members that you are targeting might be overwhelmed with PhD students and is not planning to take on any other students for the next few years. That faculty member might also be working on a book or planning to be on leave. All this information is not necessarily on the website, and that might have an effect on admissions decisions. There's also budget reasons, so that program might not be taking on any students because they don't necessarily have the funding. Again, this is not something that's openly advertised on websites, and that can have an effect on your application. They might also take a different direction research-wise, and they might not have even bothered to update their website, or they have internal plans to shift the focus on the type of research that they're doing. And this has not been made public, and that also might affect why you did not get admitted into this program. So as you can see, there is a lot of factors at play that are out of your control and that have a direct impact on the decisions that will be made past the deadline by admissions committees. That's why it's really important to apply to more than one program and to apply to at least 6 or 7 to make sure that you will be applying to programs that are going to be open to taking students this year. So as you can see, it's really important to fit in on the one hand and to stand out. And so as you select a PhD programs, if you are reapplying this year, it's really important to make sure that you're going to pick the right program for you. It's also important to keep in mind as a PhD applicant that you want to stand out from others. And a lot of people go through the application process with a preconceived notion of what programs are expecting. In my opinion, the best way to make sure that you're successful as an applicant is to just be you and to actually play up what makes you stand out from other applicants. Of course, getting rejected is never the best experience possible, but I truly believe that if you tweak your applications based on the reasons that we've talked about in this video, you have all the chances to get admitted in your dream program this year. I have worked with hundreds of people who did not get in the first time, and we just basically tweaked their application, reviewed their school selection, and the application process was very, very successful. So take the time that you have on your hands between now and the time you apply to reflect on your research goals, on your life goals, on your career. And I think that this time that you have on your hands can be beneficial in making sure that you are taking the right step forward and that you pick the best graduate program for you. Well, that's all, folks. I hope this video was useful to you. If you are in the process of applying to PhD programs right now, I highly encourage you to take a look at this video where I provide you with more concrete tips on what to do as you work on your PhD application. If you had a negative or a positive experience applying to PhD programs and not getting in the first time, please share your stories in the description box. I'm really interested in hearing about your experience. And if you like this video, please press the like button or subscribe if you want more information about applying to PhD programs. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.